You are listening to the ADHD Support Talk Radio podcast. ADHD Support Talk Radio is sponsored by ADDclasses.com. Sign up now for a free webinar by going to www.addclasses.com. And today I am rebroadcasting an episode with Rolands about some of the challenges associated with time management and adult ADHD. Also want to make a couple of announcements that we are now offering the ADHD Time Management Intensive as an on-demand program, so you can access it at any time. You can learn more about that by going to www.addtimemanagement.com. And we are also offering a free time management series at ADDclasses.com, the Expert Time Management Series. And that will be available for free until June 22nd, 2018. So sign up now for that by going to www.addclasses.com.
Welcome back, Laura.
Thanks, Tara. It's great to be here. I appreciate it.
Great. Before we get started talking about time management challenges and issues, can you let our listeners know a bit about yourself and how they can get in touch with you after today's radio show?
Absolutely. Well, again, my name is Laura Rolands, and I am an ADHD coach and owner of myattentioncoach.com. And what I do as a coach is I help people arrive on time, get things done at a better pace, really focus on their priorities, and overcome other ADHD challenges. And to connect with me, you can either contact me through my website, or I have a Facebook page, which is My Attention Coach, or just on Twitter, which is I'm Laura Rolands on Twitter. And would love to connect with you if you have any questions afterwards. And then the other thing I do is teach the time management intensive here at ADD Classes. And it's been a lot of fun, and we've gotten a lot of good feedback. I mean, I think you just gain a lot of good strategies and ways to really tackle time in the intensive. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I remember one of the members who took it a couple of years back called you the time management queen. I just thought that was funny. I love that term.
She did.
Yeah.
No, it made me, I loved the feedback. Yeah, that was great.
Okay. So I guess we can get into the discussion about time management and ADHD. And, where would you like to start? Because it's such a big, important topic. I mean, we're doing a 4-week class on it, or you're doing a 4-week class. So there's so much to talk about.
Yeah, no, there really is. And for me, I think all time management challenges can be tracked down to a few different areas. And probably the most interesting one for me is procrastination, because I think it affects everyone with ADD to some degree. It's gonna depend on the situation. And I don't know if you agree, but to me, procrastination is one of the biggest things that gets in the way.
Oh, I definitely agree. It just totally makes sense. If you keep putting stuff off, then it's going to affect the deadlines, the time you spend on it, if it gets done, and then you'll be rushing to get it through. So, yeah, and procrastination, I think, is probably even bigger than time management, because it leads into time management and all the other challenges. So, yeah, procrastination is a huge issue when it comes to time management.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is just that people get overwhelmed and don't know where to start, and then it becomes like this perpetual problem, because I don't want to start on that, so I'm going to wait. I don't want to start on that, so I'm going to wait another day. And then it gets so huge that it's even more overwhelming than it was in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, it can be a scary place to be, I think, when you really get in that cycle and you really don't know what to do or how to get started. And, if people can get past that, I think, they can be well on their way with time management as a whole. And then there's another aspect of it for me where it's like I think people, like, it's just something they don't want to do. It's like,
yeah.
I hate that. I always give the example of doing dishes, because I just hate doing dishes. And if I can't offload it as a chore to my kids, it's like, okay, I got to do this. And I just procrastinate. And in the end, it's like, well, if I would have just done it, it probably would have been a little less painful.
Yeah. And it would have probably taken less time because you would have had less dishes to, so that definitely plays into the time management and time challenges.
Yeah. I had something that I was needing to work on, and I kept putting it off. And when I finally got started on it, it was like, oh, I guess this wasn't so bad, and it would have been a lot better if I would have started a couple weeks ago. And it was one of those things where it was overwhelming, and I really wasn't sure where to start. And so I just kept putting it off. And then it can really cause problems with missing deadlines, or even as professionals, we talk about students pulling all-nighters, but even as professionals, I mean, many people end up pulling all-nighters because they put it off for so long, and, it's due tomorrow. And that's even more painful.
Then that affects how you are the next day. And I think a college student, you can adjust from it easier than somebody in their 40s or 50s, but that gets into the whole self-care and it affects everything else. So, I mean, you just illustrated and demonstrated some of the real ways procrastination negatively impacts time management. Yeah,
exactly.
Now, we talked about procrastination. What's another biggie when it comes to time management that affects it?
It's a pretty broad category, but I would say just distractions. And I think you can break that into at least a couple different categories. One is just the physical distractions. I mean, as hard as it can be to keep a clean desk or a clean workspace, I think most people find if they can figure out a way to get that workspace clean and cut out on the random papers on their desk, they're going to, figure out a way to get more done and manage their time a little better. But then I think there's also those more interruption type distractions where whether it's, a person coming, into your office or into your work area or knocking on your door or calling you or, we could spend probably 2 whole hours talking about our phones and how our phones distract us, or whether someone's texting us or calling us. Text messages probably more now than 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I think I would have said phone calls were probably bigger. But, it's like, it seems like almost no one really calls anymore, but they text. And what a huge, it sucks all your time.
And do you think, you started the program 5 years ago. Would you say there are even more distractions now than there were in 2011?
Yeah. I mean, and who would have thought it in 2011, right? But there's just thinking about the phones and everything we can store on them and every single app. I mean, it's technology as a whole, I guess, that our phones are really interesting these days. But that means they're very, very distracting.
They are. And distractions are huge. I mean, Dr. Edward Hallowell, who wrote Driven to Distraction, the other ADHD books, just started a podcast on the whole topic of distractions for the whole, for general audiences. And interestingly enough, he's going to be a guest on ADHD Support Talk Radio next month. But distractions are so big and affect so many people that here's someone that's doing an entire podcast on distractions because it affects, time management is what we're talking about, but distractions affect about everything in life now, especially with all the different types of distractions we have now.
Yeah. I'll have to check out that podcast and his show on here because you're right. I mean, it's, from a safety perspective to me, I think of it traditionally in the time perspective, but there is so much more, and we do have so many distractions. And I think, someone with ADD, it's exacerbated. Who knows how much it's exacerbated, but I think we can all relate that it is.
Well, I know one example that I often hear from clients and members of programs is not getting places on time is because they'll try to get out the door and they get distracted by an email or this or that. So that's where being on time or not being on time can be a huge consequence, especially when it comes to the workplace. I mean, a lot of people, you can get fired for being like 2 minutes late and people just don't understand the importance of being places on time. So there's like what seems like minor, like an email or a text or I don't know, something minor that distracts you can totally have severe consequences on the life of a person with ADHD when they can't get to a place on time.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, I think about all the information that we can get. And like you say, I'm just going to check one more email before I leave for work. And the fact of the matter is that one email could lead to you want to check out a news article, and then that leads to something else, which leads to something else. And all of a sudden you're supposed to be at work and you're sitting at your computer at home.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so real. And there's so much to filter through and to try to, I think of those blinders that you can have, and it's like, okay, how do I put the blinders on so I can keep all those distractions out to meet those really important goals of getting to work on time so I can keep my job.
Yep. And with the distractions, I remember all the time, I used to walk into a room and be like, okay, what did I come in here for? What I'm finding now is I'm asking myself that when I go onto my phone. It's like I went on there for a specific purpose. Next thing I know, I'm on a certain app or program, and it's like, okay, what did I come here for? So it's really interesting, the change. And it's the phone, this thing in my hand, this tiny little thing that is causing or contributing to major distractions.
Yeah, exactly. I had a very similar thing happen to me today. I went to go open a file, and then I got distracted by my phone. And then I went back to my computer and I was like, what was I opening? I know I was opening something, but what was it and why? Yeah. I had to close out and I reminded myself, but it's so frustrating.
And you and I are aware and mindful of time management and these type of things. And what we just gave two examples of how it's frustrating for us, it's going to be like so much more frustrating for somebody who just started identifying the fact that they have ADHD and they're trying to improve it. So, I mean, this is where I think it's great that there's something like the time management intensive and other type of resources to say, okay, there are ways to work with these challenges and improve them.
Yeah. And I think it's important to know too that, perfection is not, I don't think perfection on time management is a realistic goal.
No.
And, I think, you've got people, like you say, we're so aware of it and so in tune with it, but it can still challenge us, and having the strategies for me is the only way that I can get back on track, which is really important. Yeah.
Okay. Now, we talked about some of the challenges related to procrastination and distractions. What else would you like to talk about today, Laura, when it comes to time management?
I think the other aspect is just when there's literally too much to do, that you just, and again, I think it goes a little bit with the technology side, where there's so many available things that we can do. And then there's so many demands on our times from work, family, even friends, colleagues, and so we literally have to-do lists that have 50 to 100 things on them, and so it's all you can do just to even realize what you need to do, and then actually try to get it done. And I think that's, I think it's probably another area where technology contributes to the challenge. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things at you, and I think it does, because it used to be going back 5, 10, 15 years ago, when somebody invited you to do something or asked you to do something, they'd make a phone call, they'd call you. Now it's like instantly, and there's so much. I think technology really exacerbates it, because I think we'd be more likely to think about it going back, before we had all this crazy technology, and maybe we'd say no, or it's like that instant gratification, or that, there's so much coming at us.
Yeah. And you get a simple text message from someone, and they might be giving you some sort of assignment, even if it seems little on their end, and and they want it done right away, and they want to know you did it right away, and that can be really challenging. And just managing that to-do list, and then what goes hand in hand with that is figuring out the priorities, and which then leads back to procrastination. I mean, to me, it's all part of one big cycle. But but it's if I can't figure out what the most important thing is, or if I get stuck trying to decide what the most important thing is, then that can lead to troubles with time management, because I'm probably spending time thinking about what it is I need to get done, or if I could just get started, it would be a lot better.
Yeah. There's so much to think about, but I think we don't want to totally overwhelm people, with the challenges of time management. But I think it's good to become aware of it, and then know that there is hope. There are strategies. There are tools to improve it and get things done, help get things done on time, help you, get to places on time, and just have less stress in your life.
Yeah. And really finding what strategies work for you. I mean, there's so many different things that we can do to help ourselves stay on track. And even before, I started teaching the time management intensive, I mean, just listening to all the different teleseminars at ADD classes is like, and listening here on Support Talk is just, it's really helpful. And I think it's helpful to know you're not alone, too.
Yes.
That there's so many people, with ADHD and not, that have challenges with time management, and to know that you're not alone, I think is a really key, important piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. Because shame plays such a big role in ADHD and can really set you back. So just knowing other people are dealing with this and you're not the only one, that alone can be life-changing.
Yeah, definitely. The shame aspect, I think that it's sad, but it's so good to know that there are communities out here, and that there's hope, and that there's things that you can do, and that it's, it goes a little bit, I think, to Dr. Tuckman's class that he's doing on the science of time management, because it's related to brain chemistry. And
it is, definitely.
You've got all the distractions we talked about, and then you've got the brain chemistry. And so, knowing how to figure out what to do about it is key, and can really help you succeed.
Okay, great. Laura, we are actually at the end of today's show. Hey, Laura, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to leave people with today? And can you give out your contact information once again?
Sure. I guess it would really be just to end on the positive, and that there is hope, and you can figure out ways to manage your time better and succeed better with your time, and don't give up hope, and look for those resources. And as Tara mentioned, the ADHDgiveaway.com page, would love to see you in class. I think that'd be great. And again, my website is myattentioncoach.com, and there's contact information there. It also has a link to schedule a consultation with me if you're ever wanting to talk with me directly. And then My Attention Coach Facebook page, and then on Twitter, it's just Laura Rolands, @LauraRolands, and I love to interact on Twitter, so reach out to me there if you have any questions as well. And thanks for having me. I always have fun.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much, Laura Rolands, and thank you everyone for taking the time to listen to ADHD Support Talk Radio. And if you are listening to us on Stitcher or iTunes, be sure to stop by our website at ADHDSupportTalk.com. Thanks again.